guys, this is Thammasat International Moot Society. Now you're listening to Moot on Monday. คุณกำลังรับฟัง Moot on Monday วันจันทร์ที่น่าสงสัยมาไขปัญหาไปกับเรา
So hi everyone, I'm Rasan, a third-year law student from Thammasat's LL.B program. I'd also like to say thank you to our NUS fellow students who've come on today. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'll go first, right? My name is Damien, and I'm a year 4 law student from NUS, the LL.B program.
And I'm Nicholas. I'm in year 3 and the same course, so NUS LL.B law.
Wait, is this your last year then, Damien? Like you're a senior now?
Yes. This is my final year at NUS.
And is it all online?
Currently, I think due to the COVID situation, we are not sure yet, but it will most likely be online. But I think they will move to physical classes if the situation gets better.
But that kind of sucks. Your last year ever in law school and it's all online.
Right. I think I kind of got used to it already. Like I think last year was mostly online as well for year 3 for me.
So how do you guys deal with it though, like moving from in-person classes to online? Because I know like a lot of us struggled from switching to online because we weren't used to it.
I think for us, my experience, it wasn't too bad a shift because initially everything was online, but as soon as the situation got better, they tried to resume like in-person classes. So we have seminars which are up to 50 people and tutorials which are usually about a smaller group of 10 to 15 maybe. Yeah, so those typically we'll try to have them in person. And then quite fortunately, I think when this whole COVID thing like first broke out, like it was nearing the end of the semester already, so classes had already more or less stopped. So when it was first like coming in and like the worst period, it was not so disruptive. I guess the hardest part was online exams because that's just quite different.
Yeah, I think for me it's about the same as what Nicholas has said. Transitioning was all right, but online exams were quite painful because I think I don't have the fastest Wi-Fi connection. So, and I think for physical exams, they would usually give us a hard copy of the question paper so we can annotate and we can write on it. But then, because I don't have a printer as well at home, so I have to refer to it online. So it's a bit different. So I guess that was a bit problematic. But I think over time, we learn to be more productive. So for me, I've gotten myself a second monitor, second computer screen. So that actually helped a lot. So I can actually refer to the question on one screen and then refer to the answer script on the other screen, on the second screen. So that actually became a lot more productive for me.
Same, I got the same setup for my my last exam.
So you guys have like 2 screens now?
Yeah.
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 But do you have a system down for open book exams, like online exams? I know a lot of our first years, they all struggled, and a lot of even the second years and third years, because we were used to doing all our exams in person as a closed book exam, and then doing it online made it so much harder. Like everyone had to come up with their own system and like their own routine of how they're going to finish the exam in a certain period. Did you guys come up with a system down on how you guys wanted to time manage your exam?
I think fortunately for us, there's this culture in NUS law where we already like sort of prepare like what we call paragraphs or like basically notes that we will take into the exam with us, which covers like everything that we would need to know. So fortunately also most of our modules are open book per se, like maybe not open book, as in you can refer to all notes in the computer, but at the very least, usually there will be some kind of a hard copy booklet or some kind of hard copy notes that you can bring in. So I think for that one, it was less of a problem. In fact, it was more, I would say it made things a little bit easier, because now we, especially when it transitions to fully online exams, we have full access to everything. So it kind of makes it easier to, find things on the spot. But at the same time, we are given quite little time, so there's little time to search through it. Yeah, and I guess it also makes like the bell curve a bit harder. Yeah.
Sure.
I think what's important is at least for me, I do practice a lot before exams. So usually the module itself, they will tell us what are the limitations, whether or not we are able to copy and paste, from our own notes, whether or not we are able to use. Sometimes I think we still have closed book exams for some of the modules. They require us to set up like a phone with Zoom as well to view our workspace, make sure that we are not using any external materials. So usually I would practice like 1 to 2 weeks before the exam itself to make sure that I am well accustomed to the limitations, whether or not it's an open book or closed book exam.
So again, like everything, because of COVID, a lot of things went online. Like for me, what I've heard from a lot of people was people found it difficult to maintain motivation through the semester, especially doing it online. Like even if it's in person, once you hit midterm, everyone starts to get like a burnout and your motivation starts to go down and you get really like lazy. And then when it's online in your home, majority of the time, that little motivation you have in the beginning of the semester, usually that's not even there. Do you guys have anything that you guys use to help you through the semester, especially when it was online? Or even if it's like in-person exams or in-person like classes?
I think for me, this, I mean, of course, I do get a little burnt out through the sem, but for the most part, I think it boils down to enjoying what you study, and I really enjoy studying the law. So, like to me, like when I like do my own revision and stuff, it's more of like reading out of interest rather than reading as a necessity. Yeah, which I think helps a lot in terms of motivation. Of course, yeah, I do take breaks here and there.
I agree with Nick in terms of like you need to have the passion, I guess. If not, you'll be quite boring, like basically to study the things that you don't enjoy studying. I think for me personally, I even though it's like held online, I try to go down to school, or like I try to study outside of my house every now and then to get a fresh environment, to make sure that because sometimes when you're alone at home, it can be very stifling, it can be very suffocating. And I try to talk to my friends, try to meet up in small groups, small study groups, and exchange ideas. Keep each other motivated, encourage one another. So I think it is very important to maintain like a small, like close-knitted group of friends that's studying the same subjects, or to have the same motivation, to motivate and encourage one another, especially during this difficult period.
I think one thing I can suggest, is I think routine, it can be quite important, especially when you're at home, because it's quite easy to slip into like just lazing around or going to take naps and stuff. So what I found was helpful is that I would just set aside like a fixed amount of time for study. So during the semester itself, it doesn't even need to be like a large amount of time, because I find like even if I set aside like 2-3 hours maybe a day for studies, like even though like it may not be a lot of time, but it's still much better than if I were to not set aside this time and then I'll find myself just procrastinating and wasting the whole day away. Yeah.
Now again, like you guys said, that you guys need to have like an interest in what you study and like to keep that motivation going. Now that like the summer is coming to an end, did you guys do anything to stay productive during the summer? So when you guys do go back into the semester this fall, that that motivation and that interest still like follows through?
For me, I mean, it's quite normal for us to intern during the summer. So I've been interning this entire summer at multiple law firms. Yeah, so typically a law internship in the summer lasts about a month each. So yeah, I've been rotating around during my summer break. I guess it just gives us a more practical like experience into like what we study, so we can actually apply what we learn or see how like the theory that we studied for so long applies into real life situations. Yeah.
I think for me, I get where Nick is coming from, because that was me when I was a year ago. So for me now, I'm kind of done with law internship, so I'm just chilling. I kind of want to relax more, try to like take a mental health break for this summer. So what I've been doing is in a sense I'm still productive. I'm doing a bit of tuition work, guiding secondary school students helping them for their examinations, teaching them English, teaching them like science. So that's somewhat still productive, but non-law related, so that I keep my mind fresh, make sure that I rest. I'm well rested for the next semester. When I'm ready to push again, ready to get the grind again. So I think taking a good rest is also important. Apart from just trying to stay productive by grinding through.
I completely agree with Damien. I think having something non-law related to ground your experience is quite important, because that really can lead to burnout quite fast, because you find yourself doing the same things over and over again. So personally, for me, I do teach tuition as well, even throughout the semester or like academic year.
Are you guys involved in any clubs or any extra activities in law school, or even like outside law school, like you guys are saying, tuitioning and teaching other kids? Is there anything else you guys do?
For me, I'm part of the ASEAN Law Students Association, part of the EXCO. So recently, we just had quite a big event. It's a pro bono conference that was held online. So that was in, I think, end of June or early July. Yeah. So I guess that helps to keep in touch with the legal fraternity, and like that's also something that I've been working on.
For me, I do for law related stuff. I do quite a lot of pro bono work as well. I think, Damien, no, because he used to be the vice president, like of the pro bono group in NUS, and so I kind of took over and joined the exco the year after him. Yeah, but I mean, I've just recently stepped down, and but I do continue to do external pro bono work. Like, so we do have like there's plenty of opportunities to do pro bono in Singapore. There's a lot of like minor projects organized by different organizations or law firms, which you can volunteer for. So yeah, I typically find myself doing those because one, it allows me to get to again apply law in a more practical sense, and two, it just helps me to give back to the community, which I find is quite important. Then for non-law stuff, I mean, I do teach tuition, and occasionally, I mean, I think it's also important to set aside time to spend for yourself with your friends and family.
I mean, again, like how do you juggle spending time for school, doing all this extra stuff with clubs, and also making time for yourself and like your friends and everyone? Because it can get overwhelming, like you feel like guilty if you're studying and not spending time with people, and if you're spending time with people, you feel bad that you're not giving enough in school. Is there anything you guys like?
So when I first came into law school, a senior from Damien's batch told me that law school is like a triangle, right? So you have your academics on one end, you have your sleep on one end, and you have your social life on one end, right? And so you can't have all three of a triangle, right? So you need to like basically choose two. And so the area that I sacrifice in is sleep. I don't really sleep a lot, honestly. Yeah, but I mean that's been the case since even before law school. Like typically, I find myself staying up a lot to do things that I want to do. So it's not really a huge change for me. I think it's quite manageable.
Yeah, I think for me it's also the same. I sacrifice a lot of sleep. So I think during the semester, an average day would be like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, which is quite bad, I think. And I guess like for me during the summer is also an important period for me to catch up with friends. So but what I usually do it sounds quite bad. Like I would like neglect them during the actual semester when I'm grinding, and then summertime is where I start to meet up with them and to catch up with them. And it's quite difficult now because of the COVID period, and we can't really meet in large groups. But I'm still going out with catching up with my friends, from primary school or secondary school through like one-on-one meetings or like small, like 2 to 3 people, depending on the regulations. Sometimes the government restricts the number of people going out. Sometimes they relax their regulations. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing as well.
And there's something that we had like new freshmen just come in. A lot of them were asking us about the competitive nature in law school, especially even when you go abroad. Like Singapore has like a really big education system, and they're known to be a little like intense with competition and everything. Did you guys feel like there was like a competitive there before starting law school or like going to law school? And if there was, like, how do you guys deal with it? Because everyone's involved in so many things, and you kind of feel like you should probably be doing everything your friends are doing or your peers are doing. And there's like a big competitive nature sometimes that comes with law school.
I think for this is definitely 100% more competitive. I mean, I think it just comes with it like naturally. But for the most part, I think the important thing is that you do things because you want to, not because you need to. And by needing to, for example, if you're just doing something because everyone else is doing it, like I don't think, okay, I mean, this is my own personal opinion, but I don't think it's that necessary. So for example, I know a lot of people in my batch interned at 3 law firms during the summer. So our summer break is 3 months. So every single month of summer, they interned at one place. In fact, I know some people who are interning at 4 places this summer. So it'll stretch and overlap with school once it reopens. And as much as you do feel like you're missing out, I think for the most part, like it's also important to, as what Damien said, like invest in other areas in your life. Yeah, I don't think it's particularly healthy or even necessary to push yourself to that point where it becomes more of a chore and less of a passion. Because the second law becomes a chore, or your job or your school becomes a chore, I think that's when it's really over, because you're not going to feel any motivation towards it.
I think I completely agree with what Nick has said, but I think it's also inevitable for especially the freshmen coming in, for them to feel all bogged down from this competition and stuff, and try to take up many things. But along the way, I think most people would be able to find what they truly enjoy and what they want to specialize in, whether if it's mediation, corporate law, or like litigation, or even like pro bono. So I think many of us along the way, we sort of explore around and do as many things as we can, and then slowly we will narrow down into one of these specializations, and I think everything will just turn out all right. Just I think an advice to this freshman would just to be like pace yourself. And like one Nick said, don't just reach out for everything, and do what's only necessary and what they are passionate in. And I think for the NUS law culture is a bit over the years it has improved. I think we are a bit more collaborative now. Not recently, maybe like a year ago, we launched a platform online to share senior notes. Like notes of seniors who have done well in their exams, getting A's. We actually post it online for everyone to access, for the juniors to access. So I think that is a good initiative for us to have. Moving away from all this toxic competition to a more collaborative spirit.
Yeah, I don't want to scare any of the freshmen away with like this whole, like, intimidate them, push them away. Is there anything that, what's like the most memorable part of law school for you so far? Because I feel law school can be fun. Making your friends and the time you spend in law school, it can be fun. Is there anything that comes to mind specifically that when you think about law school, any memorable moments?
I think, okay, I mean, the most important part of law school, and I really think, just the foundation that keeps you grounded and keeps you wanting to push, I mean, outside of academics is, of course, the people, the friends. And I think once you find a good group of friends who you can spend time with, who you can talk to and share your troubles with, I think that's really like the best part of law school, especially because they're going through the exact same things. So they can truly understand like exactly what you're talking about or exactly what you feel. So I think that's one of the most important parts. I think involving yourself in school activities as well can be quite fun. So for example, I was quite involved with the freshman orientation program last year. Yeah, and that really, it kind of acts as a change of pace, and it gives you something else to focus on as well as to enjoy. Yeah. So, and of course, I enjoy meeting new people as well. So that was a good thing too, because I not only got to meet and make friends with the new batch of freshmen, I also got to know more people in my batch because we just interact more with new people.
I think I agree with what Nick said, with regards to the friends and participating in all these activities. I think I'm not too sure about Thammasat, but then in NUS we do have activities spread out throughout the year, whether if it's organized by our law club or like other sub clubs. For instance, we do have like a day where people just bring down their dogs, or we hire external vendors to bring dogs to the campus, and everyone can just pet the dogs, look at the dogs, de-stress a bit. There are also like events like I guess Halloween, where the student body would dress up, and some of the professors would dress up as well, and the sub clubs and people will be giving out candy, like trick or treat. So I guess even if the school doesn't have such events, but it is good for students to initiate, to propose to the school or to whoever's the approving authority to celebrate these festivities, to have such initiatives, to help bond the student body, for the student body to enjoy as well, de-stress. And I think it's very important for these activities to take place on campus, where everything is so stressed up. You don't want the students feeling like feeling stress, feeling all the negativity when they go to school. We also want them to look forward to school because of the people there, the fun, and just make school a less toxic place to be in.
I mean, we have quite a few events like this at our uni too, like the Halloween ones, but the dog ones we don't. And I'm going to talk to the student council about this because I really want this to happen at our campus. So that'd be fun. I would want that. Also, like for a lot of people who are listening who like are interested in joining law, like if they're in high school and planning on coming into law school, I feel like there's a lot of times not a lot of preparation that you get before joining law school. Like you don't get a lot of classes in high school. Like if you did the IB or A levels, they don't give you too much of prep before law school. is there anything that you wish you knew before joining law school? Did you go into anything during your freshman year that you didn't expect that you wish you were told beforehand?
I think I personally had quite a big difficulty in adapting in my first year. So for context, I did the IB program as well, but I focused more on math and science subjects. Yeah, ironic. But when I got into law school, I found that both the studying and the exams and the format of the knowledge that you intake is just completely different. So, like for example, I'm not exactly sure how to put it, but it's just the way that you study and the way that you approach things it was just very difficult for me to adapt to. And so in my first semester, I found it quite difficult. I found it quite a struggle to find the balance at which, I can cover most of the important subject like topics without sacrificing on much. So I found myself diving a bit too much into the like studies and like trying my best to memorize everything, and I realized that that's really not sustainable. And yeah, so I think if I could go back and just share some things with myself or even new freshmen, I think the most important advice would be to really try your best to find a pace which suits you from the get-go, because yeah, it's really quite an important part, and for me it was a really, really difficult transition. Yeah.
I think for me it's kind of like the opposite. I was a bit too overzealous in the sense that I bought a lot of textbooks. I rushed into internships. I try to stay ahead of competition, and I worry too much, I guess. I think for me, it's if I were to if there's a message I'd like to tell the year one me, the freshman me, is to just take things slow, just go in with an open mind, because I think the freshman program, the law program at the year one program at NUS Law is actually quite okay in terms of the pace and like the things that they teach. So just go in with an open mind and just follow the curriculum and take things one step at a time. And I also think it helps to try to reach out to seniors, to talk to them, to ask them for advice, to get them to, perhaps they can offer some points of guidance in terms of how, you should go about tackling law questions. Because like what Nick has mentioned, the way to study law is definitely a lot different from that of IB or like a diploma or A levels. It's very different. So I think that could potentially help when especially when you first enter into law, give you some form of assurance as well.
Okay, so you guys mentioned before that you guys did summer internships before, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Is there any like tips and tricks on how to like do well in your internship at a law firm, like how to impress the people who work there or how to network with other people, things that can help first timers who are interested in joining an internship over the summer?
I think there's a line to be drawn between being inquisitive and being overbearing. So I think it's important to show the partners or the people at the law firms that you're interested, that you're passionate about their company and what they're doing and the area of law. But you want to make sure that you don't ask too many. How do I put it? Like sometimes as an intern yourself, you have to do the basic research, do a bit of Googling, find out the basic, the easy answers for yourself. And you might not want to ask the partners and the associates at the law firm the easy questions, because this might show that you are not well prepared. You are just treating them like Google. So you want to ask the right questions, ask the smart questions, ask the difficult questions, and then I think that would be a plus point, because that shows that you are really interested, like I said earlier, inquisitive and passionate about the area of law. And because if you ask them too many simple questions, they might get annoyed as well. I think yeah, basically the choice of questions and how you approach, how you talk to the people at the law firm is important. You want to leave a good impression at the law firm that you're interning at.
Yeah, so I agree with Damien. I think you should definitely ask the right questions. Don't throw everything on them, because you need one thing to understand is that they are actual practicing lawyers, so they are extremely busy on a day-to-day. The fact that they're taking out time to coach and guide an intern is already quite I'm sure it adds quite a burden on them as well. But I think one thing that I can say, which would be within the line, is to take initiative, because as I mentioned earlier, they are busy lawyers, and from time to time they can forget, like as crude as it sounds, they can forget your presence. They can forget that you're there and you have nothing to do. So don't just sit around and wait for things to fall into your lap. I think actively seek out things that you can help with. And I think that's one of the most important things. I think as much as you shouldn't be overbearing, you should also not be too shy or too reserved. I think it's very important to put yourself out there and as what Damien said, leave an impression. And especially now, like during COVID, I'm not sure about what it's like in Thailand, but a lot of our internships have moved to a working from home basis. So a lot of the interactions are online. Usually you don't even get to see the people in person. So I think even more so, then you should make your presence known and just take initiative to connect with people, because at the end of the day, that is the purpose of the internship. One is to learn, of course, on the job while working, and two is to interact and connect with people at the firm, and to just kind of enjoy and experience the firm culture.
Like you mentioned, a lot of the internships and all of the work has been switched to do from home. Like all of it's online now. Like how do you network online? Like how do you network with people during quarantine and when everything is with COVID? Because so much harder when you're not in person there in the firm to talk to people, or like the other students who are doing the internships. Is difficult to network. Have you guys kind of figured out how to do it, doing it online and doing it from home?
I think for coming from experience, for my previous internship, it was online as well. But I think I was quite fortunate, because my partner, the partner of the law firm that I interned at, was quite helpful in connecting me with the rest of the team. So what the partner did was she actually sent out a mass email to the team, telling them that their new intern has arrived, is on board, and asking them to reach out to me. So I actually have a lot of these associates, sending me private emails, to arrange for a call, to find out more about me, and I actually felt very welcomed at the internship to the team. So I think but if not, I think it would be good, if the partner is too busy to or didn't do such an initiative. I think it's okay for the intern to reach out to the people in the team, in the team that you are interning at. So I think it, you can just send an email introducing yourself, telling them you're the intern when you're interning from this period, this state to this state, telling them that just basically make yourself known, and then you might receive some replies, you might be ignored, but I think it's good lah, as long as you are proactively reaching out. It connects to what I said earlier as well, not to be too annoying. So if you don't receive any replies, don't go on further to bother them or to annoy them. They might be busy. You can perhaps try again, because internship is like what Nick mentioned, about 1 month long. So you do have quite some time to reach out to them. And I think because for the bigger law firms, they do have networking opportunities. They always come up with they have talks, introducing the different practice areas in the law firms, and they also usually they will extend, they'll offer, they'll put down their contact, their email address for the students or for the interns to reach out to them if they have further questions. So I would advise, for interns to take this opportunity to personally contact these people. If you have genuine questions as well, don't go there, asking them about their day. I mean, you can, but it'd be good if you prepare some questions pertaining to their practice area. Do a bit of research about the people. You can do a simple Google search. Their expertise will come out, and then think of talking points that's relatable to them, and that would give you a more that'll make networking a lot more effective.
Yeah, I think like what Damien said, a lot of the times they do. I mean, at the places that I've interned at, they do try their best to have engagement events. So they do try to, make sure that you are networking with people within the firm. I mean, at the end of the day, the interns are their potential future employees. So it's also in their interest to, network and get to know these interns while they're still students. And also it's in their interest to leave a good impression on you as well. So I think for the most part, it works both ways as well. So both sides are trying to leave a good impression with the other. And so I think it's quite important to, like what Damon said, like reach out, but don't be too overbearing. Yeah. So, for example, I interned at quite a big firm in May, and we had several networking sessions, and one of which was with the managing partner of the firm, the CEO and managing partner of the firm, and he actually made sort of an open invitation to connect with him. And at the time, I was thinking oh, so I guess it'd be quite normal to go and engage with him, right? So I actually went to contact him myself, and we started to have a conversation, had a lot of things to talk about. Yeah, and I guess it was just a good connection, right, to make. And but towards the end of my internship, when I went to talk to my friends, I went to ask them. Then it turns out that none of them actually went to, go and contact him or talk to him. So I think for one thing, I would advise people who are going into internships is don't be so shy. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because if an opportunity is presented to you, or even if it's not explicitly presented to you, and you're there to leave an impression, you're there to make the most out of your experience. So take advantage of that and do all you can in your power to achieve whatever you set out to do at the start of the internship. Yeah, I think that's important.
So I don't know the main difference if we do internships here the same as you guys do it there. Did you guys have an interview process to get into your internship, or what's the process like to find internships in Singapore?
So for my experience, I think it varies firm to firm. Some firms have interview, and they kind of see your CV or academic grades. stuff like that. I think some firms, especially the larger firms, they don't really have interviews before they take in interns because they take in interns at such a large volume. Yeah, so that one is mostly focused on your academics. I think I also had a chance to intern at a smaller firm. So in that one, there was an interview because it's quite exclusive. They only take in 2 interns throughout the entire summer. And so, yeah, there was an interview process for that one. Yeah. But for the most part, I think in Singapore, for internship wise, because internships are quite necessary and internships are quite normal, and all the firms know that all these law students are going to be applying for internships. They're going to want some with the internet. So I think the process is very streamlined in the sense that most firms already have a system down in taking in interns, and so the process is not as tedious, I guess. And I'm just speaking from the NUS perspective. I know SMU, they have compulsory, it's a compulsory internship system where they need to complete at least, I cannot remember, I think at least 3 months of internships throughout their 4 years. So that one, I think their applications are a bit more formal because it's an actual school requirement.
I think I agree with what Nick said. But I think some, I think there are some international firms that do require interviews. I think it really boils down to supply and demand. So if they have very little slots, they're only taking 2 to 3 interns for that period of time, then they would definitely require interview to find out which candidate they should select. But like what Nick said, for the bigger firms, they generally take in 40, 50 interns during a specific period of time. They don't really require interviews, and a lot of their admission criteria boils down to grades. So I think that is an important aspect as well. As in, not really. I mean, grades are important, but there are a lot of other things that are important as well. But try to make sure that during the first 2 years you don't fail any modules, or you don't get too many C's. And I think should be all right lah. Not too sure about how the situation is like in Thailand, whether or not interviews are a thing for internships.
So because you guys are coming into internships as students, is there any expectations from you guys that are expected from law firms? And also, what do you guys have to do as interns there? What's your every day-to-day type of work like? How much do you work through the week for them?
So I think expectations, I think they expect you to have practical skills like the ability to research, the ability to write certain things, come up with certain things, and actually use your brain. I don't think they expect any knowledge of the particular area that you're going to. I think for the most part, firms when you enter a department or a particular area of practice, they don't expect you to have the technical expertise or knowledge in that area yet, which I think is a good thing because it helps you to learn, and they don't just expect you to find out everything on your own. I mean, of course, you need to do your own research, but at the very least, they're understanding about that. I think for what we do on a daily, I think it really depends on the area of law that you're going into. So for me, I've had internships in a lot of different areas of the law because I'm still exploring, or I was still exploring which areas that I want to specialize in or what areas interest me in the long run. And so I can speak from experience for corporate internships, such as if you go into mergers and acquisitions or more niche areas like IP law, funds. I think for the most part, there's a lot of research to be done. There's a lot of answering clients' questions because typically I mean, on a day-to-day, you're not going to be drafting deals every single day, all day, right? A lot of the times clients come to the lawyers with questions, just simple questions that they have to move or whatever deals forward that they might be engaged in. And so I think a lot of the time, it's research on these things. I mean, there's also drafting work, sifting through documents. I think that's big part of the work. And I think as an intern, I mean, there's bound to be the more mundane stuff, which are less, like less research based, like proofreading documents, just going through the tedious groundwork. Yeah, and for litigation, internships. So I think a lot of the time it's similar to what we do in school. So it's research on areas of the law that might be in contention, research on what areas of the law are applicable, research on cases, that kind of thing. And a lot of drafting of memos, memorandums, which to briefly summarize the position to your partner or associate who you're working for. And I think I mean, one good experience that I had was I interned at a criminal law firm, one of the top criminal law firms in Singapore. So during that internship, I actually got to go to court like almost every day. And that was like a really good experience because, you get to see like the Singapore justice system in action. And I think that was, quite fun. But I mean, naturally it would come with more work. Yeah. So there was a whole ton of like research and writing and drafting things. And the deadlines were, back to back. So, and there are a lot of like client interviews as well, speaking to the defendants. And so I think, for work-wise, I think it really depends.
I think I agree with Nick from my experience as well. But I also realized that the smaller firms, usually they give you more work to do. So for me, I've interned in quite a few different firms, and I feel that the experience I get from smaller firms is more enriching, in the sense that they actually give you more work. They like what Nick said, give you more opportunities to interact with clients. So I personally gave sort of like advice. Okay, shit, I shouldn't be saying this. I actually gave like legal information to a client before, under the supervision of my mentor, of course, in like a small meeting room at this firm that I interned with, and it is really quite nice to see that the client is actually quite satisfied with the research work that you put in, and that your work is actually being used by the firm in providing advice to their client, etc. And for the bigger firms, I think we get less of this kind of interaction, because I think they do have more people, they do have more manpower, more associates to talk to the clients, and I think they want to play on they are less how do I put it, they won't want their interns to be the ones interacting with the clients directly, because they are more risk adverse, in terms of they don't want to offend the client, but because interns might say the wrong things, they are not that experienced yet. So I think I would advise for people who are looking for internships to try out all sorts of internships, different practice areas, different firms of varying sizes as well, to find out what actually suits them, because I think internships is also a period of time where law students get a feel of the culture and how a particular firm, particular team works. I think that's more or less my internship experience.
Do you guys have any like personal career plans? Like once you finish your LL.B, you guys plan on going straight into doing your LL.M somewhere, or going into practicing?
I think for Singapore, I mean, again, going back to the standard, industry standard, I guess. After law school, typically students will enter what we call a training contract at a law firm. So, for Damien's batch, it will be a 6-month training contract after they graduate. For mine, it has been shifted to a 1-year training contract. So we will be, immediately after graduating, typically we'll go into whichever law firm that we're going to be doing our training contract at. And either prior or concurrently, usually prior, we will take the bar exam. So we'll need to be called to the bar and then go in for our training contract. So I think, I typically, I guess, people don't really take a huge amount of like breaks or stuff like that before going into that. If you're not going into practice, you don't need to do any of this. For example, if you want to further your studies to do an LLM, then this is not necessary yet. But me personally, I don't think I'm going to be doing an LLM. So yeah, so I'm just planning on doing that, I guess. Yeah.
I think for me, I'm going the same route, the typical route, just graduating with the LL.B and getting the training contract. I already have a training contract, getting the passing the bar exam, and going to practice. But I think there's this beautiful program in NUS. I'm not too sure if they have it at Thammasat. So our LL.B program is 4 years, right? And a lot of us were given the option during year 2 to take on LLM at one of our partner universities, which includes NYU, if I'm not wrong, University of Toronto as well, and I think Melbourne University as well. So some of us actually opt for that option, and they graduate in 4 years with an LL.B as well as an LLM. So that is an option. That is actually quite a popular option for in my batch, but I don't think it's necessary because I feel that if you were to take an LLM, I think some of them are considering the option of the academic route, becoming a Sheridan Fellow, becoming a professor in future. So I think an LLM would definitely be beneficial or been beneficial to these people. But for most people who just want to practice, or like what Nick said, some of us don't even want to practice law. So masters is not that necessary. And yeah, I think most people would just take the bar exam after they graduate and fulfill their training contract, whether it's 6 months or 1 year, and then go into practice after they graduate.
Are you already studying for your bar exam now?
No. Right now, because I still have my final year.
Oh,
So after I graduate, I think sometime in May next year, and then our bar exams are usually in September, if I remember correctly. Like most of my seniors, they are currently studying now. July, August period is where they start studying after they graduate, and then they'll take their bar exam in September. So for me, it'll be next year. I think 2022 September.
Are you guys planning on specializing in a specific area of law? Like now you guys have done your internship and got to like experiment and explore different areas. Are you guys like interested in any specific area to specialize?
For specific areas wise, like what exact area of the law I want to practice, I'm not firm up on yet, but through my internship experience, I have like come to the conclusion that I want to go more into corporate law rather than litigation. Yeah. So, that's a step in the right direction, I guess. Like, yeah, firming up. But because, I think Damien has a training contract already, so he probably already knows which area he's going into.
Yeah, I think for me, it's similar to Nick. I'm more of the corporate law kind of guy. So my training contract is in the practice area, or the investment funds practice area. So I think that is also an area that really interests me because I I like to do investing myself, looking at stocks, looking at cryptocurrencies. So yeah, it's basically what they do there is basically to help the investment funds set up their funds, drafting the legal documents, and also help make sure that they comply with government regulations. Because Singapore is very strict in terms of this kind of basically offering financial services. We have this central bank, we call it the MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore. They do have some stringent requirements that need to be adhered to. So that's basically what my practice area is about. Hope I'm not misrepresenting the practice area, but yeah, that's the specialization that I'll be going to after I graduate.
Okay, so before we end the episode, we normally ask everyone who comes on if they have any last words or any advice they want to leave anyone who's listening with. You guys have anything you guys want to end this with and say to anyone? Any advice? It can be related to law, it can be related to nothing relating law, anything.
I would say my advice is to find what you're interested in everything that you do and focus on nurturing and growing that.
Yeah, I think mine is just to be not don't worry too much. Everything will be fine at the end of the day. Just keep it chill, Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for coming on today. I really enjoyed this talk and getting an insight in NUS and the whole legal world in Singapore. It's been fun. And I hope anyone else or listening to us also enjoyed this episode. And thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
หรือถ้าหากใครต้องการที่จะพูดคุยกับเราสามารถ inbox ทาง Facebook Page ธรรมศาสตร์ International Moot Society หรือผ่าน IG TIMS_TU ได้เลยนะคะสำหรับวันนี้ขอลาไปก่อนสวัสดีค่ะ